Welcome back to Cold Opal. We're here with part 2 of our Opal buying challenge. And we're going to do the 900 carat parcel first. I haven't opened it up. I just got it out of the bags because they were kind of both wrapped together. So what I'll do is dump it on in and then we'll get down to it. I've got the light, I've got our measuring device. We're not going to measure weight in this video, just the size, to see if we were correct in our assessment of the size of these pieces. Okay, so this is the one that I wanted to get to first. I wanted to kind of check out the size of this one. This is the one that I had guessed was maybe one of the ones that was used for the sizing of the parcel. And let me see here. This wasn't it. So it looks like the assumption that it may be that the larger seam piece. Yeah, that's the one that's 35 millimeters. So it's not too bad looking either. Might brighten up if we take care of it a little bit. All right, let's start looking through piece by piece, see what we can find today. I mean, like this first one we looked at here, I don't know, like it's got some stuff going on, but the lighting that I have out here isn't gonna do it justice. Yeah, that's kind of a work the wheels through. And same with this one here, where there might be something good in here, but most likely this is practice material. And here was the other one that we kind of were thinking was a gambler practice material. And it has that nice little blue opal hat on it. It might go in there a little bit, but not too far. And then the back. So you can see it's kind of falling apart on the back. You might find some more in there. You never know. Okay, and here we got. This is pretty much just clear opal, but not bad for practicing. This is another one that was showing color, I thought, and it shows a little bit. Let's take the light to this one and just see if we can see anything else. So yeah, there's some potential there. It's tough to tell if this is just running in such rigid formation here that it's just going to be alternating between the little bits of crystal opal and sand. But yeah, I mean that one could be fun to try and carve it out and see if it gets any better than this. Like they couldn't have rubbed this one up. It doesn't look like that, so that one will be a discovery piece. Now this one was another one that was looking promising, and I can see that it's got some very directional color, and kind of right where it would start to get good is where it just goes completely sand shot. So I don't think that there's not going to be anything coming out of this one. Maybe on the edge here, maybe on the end, but it would be really tiny. So that one could be, we could cut it away for using the potch. It's somewhat oxidized. It might go blacker once it's cut, but alright, so that one is kind of a disappointment. This one here, I don't know that we got a good look at this one from the video, but it's got some oranges, it's got some pinks coming in. Maybe this could be something good. It's got a little bit of black potch poking through, and there's a little bit of an opal seam running on top of where that sand is. So this could be one that you look inside and get surprised. It looks like it was snipped apart. Maybe it was a pea knobby. And they're like, oh, we're just going to snip this one open, and maybe the good half was the other half. Unless it's, I don't know. So, yeah, that one, it could have something in there, and you could be surprised. Just by looking at the tiny picture window that I get from the seam, yeah, it might. You might get a little bit in there. So that one does have potential. This was the one that kind of looked like one that you could make a nice picture stone out of maybe, but the sand might get in your way too much here. Yeah, I don't know if you're going to be able to do much with this one, even if it is looking nice here at certain angles. Yeah, you could, I don't know, it depends upon how hard this sand is. It doesn't seem like it's super crumbly and soft, so you might be able to polish this one up. It looks like this one is a rub. Yeah, it's definitely a rub. So they went down in there and just investigated and found out that they didn't want it. And now we have it. Now here was this is the little knobby. This might be the other portion of that one. And it doesn't look like there's anything in there. Up on the corner here I'm seeing a little bit of blue, and it's rather bright. I don't know if I'm going to be able to show that though. It's that tough to see. So this might have some sneaky potential. If you cut a really small stone out of this, I wouldn't be shocked. Yeah, now that I can see it right over here on the edge, there might be enough potch on the edge where it'll hold onto there and cut you a gemstone. But not a big one. Okay, moving on. This is more seam stuff. I don't know that we got a good look at this in the video. But it's not bad to start, so it's a rub. I don't know if you could go much further than this. You could maybe clean it up a little bit. There's a little indentation there where it looks like something came out of there. But you know, that's not bad. I don't hate that. All right, next. This is another crystal piece that was fairly sand shot. I don't know how much good crystal material is here. Yeah, I don't know. It certainly is sandy, and it's a rub too. So they went in and tried to get to the good stuff. So that one didn't appear to be a rub when we looked at it. Maybe I missed it. We'll be able to go back and check. But so far there's a couple rubs here where it's like I didn't think there was any rubs in this parcel. I don't necessarily love buying rubs that are just kind of thrown in to sweeten up a parcel. That seems, I don't know. There's a very thin layer of directional color on the face of this stone, but yeah, for our purposes, I don't know. It's not a rub. It might be an offcut. So we might be able to clean that up a bit and get it to show. And it's very dark blue, purplish when it does show. So maybe some potential there. This was another interesting piece that had kind of a patterning on it that I thought was interesting. And this is rather unique. There is a color bar here going around the sides. Very thin, but it looks good enough to be something that you may cut and find out that it's good or it's got problems. I don't know that we're going to be able to tell much since it's so thin. But yeah, over here, this looks like it's going in a ways, so there could be potential in this one. And I also look at this up here. They definitely saw this off of something, so maybe they didn't look too hard at the inside of this here, because that isn't necessarily something that they would have given up on so easily, given the history that we're looking at over here. Perhaps this piece and this piece were part of the same little formation, and they kind of needed to get around these pieces to get to the really good stuff. All right. Next up, we kind of went over that one. This is the one that looked like it was just going to be a little bit of a picture window in there, and you could see some okay stuff. There's some other colors coming from the very bottom of it. So this might be an interesting one. This might have potential for a very, very tiny stone to come out of it. But maybe just a something to do a little bit of carving practice on. It's looking like an offcut. And maybe it just chipped off of whatever they were working on, because it's got several cuts on there. All right, back to it. This is some practicing fodder. It's got a little bit of color showing at the edge, but I don't know. Maybe you would get that to, I mean, it's not gonna, it doesn't have any potch, I don't think. Unless this is the potch at the top in a very thin layer, which it might be. So, yeah, there might be something in there. We'll put that in the maybe pile. These are kind of all maybe piles. This, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if there's anything here. Yeah, I don't know. That one might be just potch. Okay, so there's some very nice looking white here. It's kind of playing down at the end, and then it does do a little bit up here, but this is, at this size, you'd be looking to do some sort of a doublet out of that, or maybe even a triplet. But that runs through there, and you could maybe get a smaller stone, or maybe two stones that would be different looking stones. So that has potential, and that's a rub too. Yeah, this is so thin. I don't know what we could do with it. It's kind of an opal chip, I'd almost call it. And some more thin stuff. Really not much going on here. I mean, it's kind of like got the precursors to going into color, but I don't know that it's going to go. I would guess not, if I had to guess. There's some color running through the back of this one here, and this one does have a little bit of potch on it. That's kind of what it is, I guess. You'd just call it potch with some color in there. Not gonna cut you anything good. Next up, more crystal. This is a nice little piece of crystal here, and it's got a couple of bars, or no, that's just one bar running through this one. So this has got some potential. Like, I like this one. That might be worthwhile. I don't know. It's got some cracks on the outside. I don't know how the material is holding up inside there. It doesn't look super even with the color bar. But yeah, you might get something pretty nice out of this. There's sand all over the place. But looking straight down, there's this sand here, which is above the color bar far enough that you wouldn't worry about it. This on the edge is more worrisome. So yeah, that's potential. There's no doubt about that one. All right. This one is the one that's got the purples, the really nice purple. It's just such a mess though. And boy, it's kind of running every which way. Okay, so we just finished with this one, and we'll keep moving here. Looks like we got quite a bit of sand coming up here. These might be pretty quick. Yeah, there's a lot of sand here, but there might be something promising underneath. It might have been partially rubbed on the side, but maybe not. Maybe that's just how it came out of there. But yeah, there's some crystal stuff in here, and there's a little bit of some noduling type of stuff that might be interesting and worth checking out. So it's a very interesting looking one, if nothing else. All right, there's some seam here, and it's got a little bit of color. It's not anything that you could salvage, I don't think. But you could test this and play around with doing different techniques on a piece like this. So that's not too terrible. All right, next we got, there's, this is another one of those ones where it was almost there, and it's just a little bit not ready yet, not ready for prime time. So we'll put it in this pile. And more seam. This does have a color bar on the side of it here. Not sure that you're going to get anything out of there. At least you have been left to investigate. So instead of the cutter doing the investigating, we will do the investigating on that one. Next up, more of that same gray patchy seam. There's nothing as promising as what we saw before, but it's worth taking a look at this one and seeing what this does on the inside. There's at least a little bit here that could have some potential. So we'll be able to take a look and see. Here's that knobby. It looks very nice from the one angle here. And this might be very nice as a crystal opal carving. You could even maybe just take off the sand and leave it as opal sitting on the gray potch. And it would be a nice little piece. Not necessarily gem potential. Maybe if you wanted to cut a small stone off the top, but it would need to be just crystal opal, or you could back it. You could back it with the potch if the potch doesn't run all the way up there, which doesn't look like it does. The opal runs into there a little bit. You can see it runs in there a little bit, about the same amount that it is on top. So that one's promising, and I like that one. Even as a specimen, that one's kind of cool. This is some nice material, but I don't know how you'd access any of it. This is essentially just craft material. Even though it does have reds and oranges inside of it in little bitty pieces, you're not gonna be able to appreciate that. Okay, next we got more crystal. This it goes from turquoise on the bottom all the way into these purples up at the top. I can't really tell how far in this goes. It doesn't look to go in very far. And maybe you'd get inside there and the sand would go away, but my guess is that it's going to be more sand that you find in the inside of that one. Moving on, this one has been snipped, it looks like. So yeah, there's not much to tell in here, but it has potential, that's for sure. So yeah, there's some nice color over here, and on this side it looks to go in at least a little bit, but you might be eaten alive by the potch that's hiding behind there. So it might just be all potch. As you can see kind of from the formation, like the opal's down here, then there's the potch that comes through, and then there's more opal up over here. And it kind of formed like maybe like this. So maybe not too much to be done with that one. Little chip, this is just potch and sand. This is another snipped one. And yeah, I can see why they snipped this open, just to see if this was good inside. Because it's good on the outside here, and I like what I see from this angle here. It's probably going to be tough to see, but it does go flashing nice dark blue, really dark blue. And then it is, even in the potch up on top, it has a little bit of flash of green into the potch. So yeah, I don't know. It could be that that opal is just on the surface of the potch there, and we'd have to try to cut it like that. Or you could check it out and see if it goes in further down in here. That's weird. Okay, yeah, look at that. I don't know if you can see it, but there is color from inside there. And there's black potch over here. So, yeah. That one definitely could be something good. Whether or not any of that faces nicely would be what you're trying to find out. You'd take off this top and to get down in there and see. But that one is actually it has a lot more potential than I initially thought. That one could be a real winner. We wouldn't know until we get the top off though. So, hey, anything with potential is kind of what we paid for this parcel for. Just the potential and the chance to see if something good is inside there. A lot of these ones, they are going to be kind of a mystery because like you're not going to throw in super high grade cutters into a parcel like this. This is interesting. It's got strong colors on the sides, no doubt. Nice crystal, but the sand, you might be thick enough in spots to get some stones out of this, so that's not bad. I don't think the sand is as bad over in this corner, so there's just potch on the top of that, and maybe there's a stone underneath there that is a easy cutter, easy small little cutter in there. Next up, this is a chip, and it's got a little color on the edges. You can see the color coming through on the edges of the sides. I don't know that there's much else to be said about that one. And here we go again. We got more seam. This is barely into the colors. It's just barely there. So maybe that's kind of test or craft material. Okay. All right. This is kind of curious, isn't it? It's kind of sitting strangely in there, where there's a little pocket over here that kind of goes around. There was something inside of here that is no longer there. And I wonder what that was, because it almost looks like it was an organic shape of some sort that was inside there. Like a little kidney bean of some sort. Weird. That is really bizarre. The color on the sides is very nice, crystal opal. And this does have potch, so this in there, that could be a stone. And that one certainly has potential. Nice to see that. Nice to see. I mean, judging just about, a little over halfway through here, we probably have in potential right about where I would say, you're going to be paying about that much just to take a look inside of some of those ones. So maybe this is kind of, we're into the rest of the material, and maybe this is going to be more crafting stuff. This is just potch, but it's thick enough and it goes well enough, I think, that you could maybe just take the sand off and use this for backing for doublets. Ew, what do we have here? Maybe it goes into precious opal inside there. I'm seeing something kind of strange. I don't know if we're going to be able to get that to show. But yeah, we might look inside that one too. It wouldn't hurt just to look inside there to take the sand off anyway, so it'll be part of the process with that one. Here we've got brown potch. That's interesting. And this is that same type of formation that we saw over here with this one. So maybe these were found in the same area. And this one has purples, greens, blues. I don't know that any of this is going to turn out for us, though. This might be sitting on enough potch that you could get a small stone out of it. That's going to be a skill check, though, I think, on that one. Ones that we wouldn't pass right now. Okay, so more seam. This is nice looking on the side. I like that. That's looking good. How far does it go in? Is it just the end of it, or does it continue in a little bit further? Enough to get some material out of there for cutting a doublet? I don't know. Yeah, that's not bad. And more of this same type of seam. Nothing to write home about on that one. It's just potch. Just potch. It goes clear a little bit here, so there's some clear opal. There could be something inside there, but I think you would have seen it by now. That would be my guess. All right, and continuing. There's a seam running right down there. I don't know if that is large enough inside there to get something out of this, but you might get a small cutter out of that. I mean, if things go really well, ooh, it is showing on the back end here. All right, okay, I'm impressed. Anything on these parcels where you could follow a color bar along is seemingly a rarity in my limited experience with this. You're just not going to see too many pieces where you can get that type of information, or they didn't explore each piece enough to see that there was a color bar that kind of runs around this one. So you might get a cutter out of this one. taking that off and seeing how it goes. That'll be exciting to see. So thumbs up on that one. Here is one. This one might be the best crystal example that we have that it would seem possible to get enough of the sand out of your way to make a nice carving out of. Just a freeform carving where the sand is essentially removed and you're left with crystal opal. Maybe there's a little bit of sand inside that would remain. So yeah, that might be the best one of those examples that we have. I don't think you're going to have anything nice where it totally cleans up and then you're just left with crystal opal in a free form. I don't think it's going to be that. But for our purposes in practicing and trying to work with that form and maximizing our potential out of what we have here, that'll be a fun one to do. Okay. Little bitty black potch. Is there anything going on in here though? This, I mean, just to give you an example of how small that one is, I'll bring in the ruler and you'll be able to see it is maybe 7 millimeters across and oh boy, 8, 9, 10 long. So that's the scale we're dealing with here. This is going to be important when we look at the next parcel because this is going to be kind of the size class that one is consisting of. Obviously it's not just black potch, but yeah, I think that one is solidly in the it's just potch category. But it could pair nicely if we need black potch for something out of that other parcel. Nice. We'll take it. This is a little knobby, almost, it looks like, to me. It has opal in here, but it got taken away by the fracturing that this went through. It doesn't look like it's rubbed. Even though that break is clean, I think that's a natural break. It could have been that's where they snipped it open, but it's kind of got an angle that I don't usually see with pieces like that. So it could be they snipped it, but it could be just a natural fracture. All the way in there, you can see it's still doing stuff. It's still got color all the way inside. It's different color, but yeah, might be the biggest mystery of them all. I don't know. It's so thick. It's gotta be, yeah. I mean, it's a full 10, 12 millimeters thick. So I'm not sure that any of this would be usable in gem cutting, but we might be able to do something else with it. Maybe we could just go around the edge and expose that precious opal that is there and see what we get from there. So that one's not bad. If nothing else, you could use the potch. This is the last really big one. Just for size, we'll just do a size on this one here. It's okay. Well, that's surprising. It's over 30 centimeters or 30 millimeters across. So that's pretty big. It's got a big bulbous sand like we saw in those other ones there, which kind of was feeding the creation of the opal here, as we can see. It goes up in there. I'm not seeing any colors though. But that's kind of one of those ones where you would start the investigation from this side. And since it's crystal opal, like you'd probably be looking at making a doublet if you could grind enough of this down and it did start to show you some color. Then you could cut off the back and get a doublet out of this or something like that. It's got a little bit of color just at the edge here. So it's showing some promise. Yeah, this is probably another one of those ones where they're like, well, this is a gambler and they could only tell so much, but most of the time this isn't going to turn out in their favor. So that's why we have it. But we'll take a chance on it, and it'll be good practice, if anything else, and we'll get to see what's really going on inside there. Next up, this is just Potch. It's giving you a little bit of an inkling that it would have or could have gone color up here. There's a little bit of color, yeah. So inside there, my guess is that it's just more Potch. I don't know that this is going to be one of the ones that is going to be like you're waiting with bated breath to see what's inside of the rest of that one. It kind of just looks potchy. This one is from early in the video that we saw, and yeah, it does have a nice, very directional blue that's going on in there. And it's got color on this side too, very slight amount of it. As you can see, that's sitting on the potch nicely, and it may be that you just take this top off and you can get yourself a little, you know, ½ carat, ¾ carat stone out of there, and it's just that easy. This was a snipped piece. So yeah, maybe the other half of it is in another parcel somewhere and someone's like, hey, yeah, the rest of this was really good. Okay, moving on. This is another crystal. A lot of sand on the outside there. You could get some of this sand to clean out though, and it's not running through. You can kind of see a full picture of what's going on in there and where you would need to do the deepest penetration. This back over here is covering up more sand on the inside that we can see from the inside. So that's good information to have, and maybe this one will be perfect for doing that type of practicing before we get to that other one that we were looking to practice with, just to see if this isn't going to be able to come out. Get the sand out, have crystal left, and then see what it does from there, and if it's a somewhat pleasing example to look at. Alright, this is potch. Some of it is fairly black. I don't know that... yeah, you can see there's a difference in the color gradient between this very stuff at the very top here and then that kind of blue-blackish potch. Yeah, so not bad. We'll take it. We'll use it. This one. This is another one of the sandy crystals. This one was one that we kind of signaled out as maybe there's more potential here than they gave it credit for. Now that I'm looking at it, it's pretty sandy, as you can see. Yeah, I don't know. We're going to put that one in the maybe pile. I don't know that this one would be the first one we go look at, because maybe we see the whole story right up front. Now this is going to be maybe a little bit tough to see from the angle, but there is some pink color in this one that's quite nice, and this is a chip, or it's really quite strange because it has a curve in it. And this is one of those ones where you kind of wonder, even in the shipping, like, did this not get destroyed in the shipping and we just got lucky? But you could maybe do a small stone or two. The curve kind of is getting at you here. But maybe that would turn into, you could do small earrings or something like that out of this material if it was backed properly. Or maybe it's going to show up nice enough that it wouldn't need that. I mean, most people don't do backing on that type of opal, but we'll see if it's too much crystal or if it's more like those other types of white opal, which usually isn't in these Lightning Ridge parcels. All right, this is very nice. This has got sand on the outside and the back here, and then on the inside it goes a little bit in here. But there's large areas that don't have sand, and so you might be able to do a nice carving out of this one. I don't know. It's got some jaggedness to it that would prove difficult, maybe, but it is worth investigation. Down to the last two. Okay, so this is kind of giving me the vibe that it got snipped off of something, but I don't think it's feeling like that. It maybe just was tumbled out like this. And I think it's just potch and clear opal. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, wait. Oh, boy. There's red inside there, and it's a little tiny speck of it. And it's being obscured by some potch, some white-ish potch that's inside there. But on the back, then it's like, oh, it's showing you two color, well, I don't know, I wouldn't say color bars, but two areas that are showing color. Down here, and then up here. Yeah, like this is one of those ones where, unless you were really inspecting it and really looking for it, you wouldn't have seen that. So I don't think that got past them. So this one just kind of like wasn't inspected quite good enough, because I'm sure they would have wanted to see what's inside here. It's too good. It's got black potch looking stuff over here that runs along there. There could be some real good quality opal inside there. That's funny how that works, isn't it? It just was looking so potchy. But yeah, that's... Oh, I can see it from this side too. Oh, I see a little bit more of it. And it's red. So, yeah. That one will be a fun one. Last one. I know, it's taken all this time just to get through this. Okay, so just gray potch, sand, and there's a little bit of color on the side. It goes in a bit from what I can see with the light. As you can see, it kind of starts here and then travels over there. You'll be able to see pretty easily when you get that sand off how good that is, or if it faces up at all. Because as you can see here, there was some potch down there that was like, okay, there's where the backing potch is, but yeah, it might just be the end of it and it was kind of the last gasp. And then this one that was over here is the one that maybe they snipped this one off. It's another curved one also. Yeah, that's the type of potential that is kind of indicative of these type of gambler pieces, where they're a little bit larger, but like you're just not going to be like, well, this has got the color bar running all the way around. Like, where was that one that we had a solid color bar running around on? That was such an aberration, and they may have just missed it or didn't care enough because it was crystal. Like this one was looking pretty promising, and you can see the color bar going around it. But there was another crystal that we had, and I can't find it now. Is it? There we go. So yeah, like on this one here, that's got that nice color bar that runs through, and looks to be not completely eaten up by sand. There's sand in the middle, but it would be, even though it's down inside there, it would be stuff that we would take off anyways to get down to the bar. So I don't think the middle of it is eaten out from what we can tell. So there's some ones with some fairly good potential in here. Getting the skill to get at that potential is going to be the next task. So if you would like to go to the next parcel, the smaller, more expensive parcel, that should be several grades above this one as far as terms of quality goes. We'll post that one next, and we'll have a link to it here. Thanks for watching, and have a good one.